Still not cut that ending off. So it's a long silence. Welcome back to the Preface Fireside. Sorry, we were just a bit late. We were getting Brian revived. So he's back with us now, and we can start the show. Today, I'm joined by Alan, the world survivalist. How you doing, Alan?
Good. How you doing, Mike? Hi, guys.
I'm good. Just going to catch up on my sleep as soon as I can. So if I look a bit tired, don't worry. Don't panic. Andy, Bombardier, how are you doing, mate?
Yep, all good, mate. All good. Thank you very much.
Excellent. And Brian, you're still with us, so it's fine. Put that Pepsi down
it's a low
and
bar.
drink some damn H2O, please.
There's water in it.
It's not. There's not. It's 97% chemical. Anyway.
So's my waistline.
Yes, anyway, so the topic tonight is security, home security, and basically preparing your home or shelter, etc., for anything that could possibly happen, whether that's something small or whether it's a full SHTF situation. I've just got back from the Bug Out Weekender, which for an update was awesome. I'll put a video out soon, apart from a technical failure with mics. I'll get a video out there. Really good, full of genuine people, and learned a lot, really learned a lot. So we'll get a few people on the podcast over the next couple of weeks, so you'll get to meet them as well. Right, find my notes. First thing I want to do is go through the very basics, gents. Nothing to do with zombie hordes or anything like that, right? So I want to talk fire, medical, floods, that kind of thing. All right. So when it comes to fire safety, what have you got in place already, Alan?
Fire safety. I've got integrated fire alarm system. I only got that recently, actually, properly installed. And it's got a heat detection system as well, so you can have it in your kitchen. It doesn't go off every time you burn toast or whatever. So got that throughout the house. It's actually a legal requirement in Scotland now. I don't know if it is in the rest of the UK. What else? I've got a couple of those fire extinguishers that are about this big that you buy from Lidl that could put out a very small fire. There's one in the kitchen, there's one in my shed, and there's one at the side of my bed. And I've got a bit of a fire plan, which I've mentioned to the missus. And
don't burn.
That's it. Yeah, don't burn. This is what we do.
Run away from the hot things.
Yeah, apart from taking some basic precautions, if I'm going to be out of the house for a long time, I try and turn stuff off that's likely. This room that I'm in just now is a massive bloody fire hazard. I've got wires and cables everywhere, all this equipment, it's all plugged into something, so I try and switch all that off at the mains and stuff, and try and keep it as secure as possible.
I'm more prepared than me. Mine stays on 24/7. Andy, what have you got in place for fire safety generally?
I've got fire alarm system here, but it's not integrated like Alan's. It's just the ones that you put up yourself. Like the one that Alan's got, mate. That's a requirement in the UK for residential. So when I worked for the charity that houses the homeless veterans, we had 33 flats, and we had to get the system that Alan's got in. It was all hardwired in, and same as in the kitchen, we had heat detectors, not smoke. For that purpose. And I've got fire extinguishers, mate, like the rest of the lads. I've got fire blankets. And to be fair, mate, I'm thinking about doing that thing that Hawkins shared, where he had that fire extinguisher ball in his meter cupboard.
The bomb thing type.
Yeah. That seemed like quite a good idea. But I haven't got one of them yet, mate. I've just got what I've just said.
I'd have trust issues with that. I'd be like, I want to test it, but obviously I don't want to test it. Does it work?
I know what we could do. We could set Hawkins's off and see how well it works.
Good idea. Excellent idea.
I think you'd be up for that.
We'll sort that out. Brian, fire safety. Apart from the plan of run away from the hot stuff, what's in place in your house?
The same as Alan, more or less. There's heat tape on the kitchen, and there's also heat detectors and tape in the utility room where the batteries are. There's a fire blanket in the kitchen, fire blanket in the utility room, and there's dry powder extinguishers dotted about the house. Yeah. None of it's going to matter, because if the house batteries catch fire, then the whole block's gone.
Yeah, you
They'll
can't
never put it
them
out.
can you? You can't put
No.
them out. It's the same as the electric cars. That's the downside. The
There's-
solar side.
There's a stack of server rack batteries that height, and yeah, just fling the baked potatoes on and come back in a couple of hours.
That's going to be some very baked potatoes. I do reckon with your sick voice, you could definitely pull off a mean Johnny Cash impression. We get a song at the end. That'd be great.
I'd be pretty mean at the moment. Excuse me. Sorry.
So, do you all just live on the ground floor, or does anyone have an upstairs escape plan in place? That's I want to ask this question because I've recently been looking at the ladders that you throw out the window, etc. Has anyone got an escape plan if the fire's at the bottom of your stairs?
Jump out the window.
The only escape plan I've got, it's just one floor up, so it's not that high. But
Don't jump out the window, Brian. He's gone. It's too late.
He's gone.
It's fine.
Yeah, I've made a point of not locking the windows. Like, you know, you get a little key with the windows. The upstairs windows aren't locked, and that's purely just to get out as quickly as possible. And I'm also thinking if the fire brigade tried to smash their way through the glass, it would be easier for them to sort of reach in and just open the window rather than the whole thing. But other than that, I'm not so high that I could probably just dreep out if I needed to, I think.
There's a happy medium there between wanting to keep your windows locked for security purposes and get out quick, right?
Yeah, well, I don't think the little locks make huge difference from a security point of view. You know, they're going to break the glass anyway. But
you're going to dangle down and drop off, and the missus is going to throw the kids to you. How's that going to work?
Yeah, it would probably be the case that she would have to go first, and then I would sort of drop the kid down that way.
Whee!
You know,
who's the better catch? Andy, escape plan for upstairs.
It's hard to describe the front of my house, mate. But if you go out there, so our bedroom's at the front, and if you went out of that window, mate, you only have then you've got like a flat roof, which then halves it again.
Like a vestibule kind.
Yeah.
Thing,
so once you've got into the flat roof, mate, it would maybe be 8 feet to the floor.
So that's pretty much pre-made. Yeah. So
that would be my plan, mate. If push came to shove.
Yeah. Have you tried it? Practice, Andy. Practice. Don't practice. Please don't jump out your windows at home. Quick, it's a time to get the disclaimer across the bottom. Where's the disclaimer?
Too late. Someone's already done it.
There you go. I can't put that one on because I've attempted to monetize because Brian's ill. I thought might get away with it. Brian, have you got an escape plan from upstairs on the first or second floor kind of thing?
Ironically, it's very similar to Andy's. We've got a porch on the front of the house, so you can open 2 windows and get out of there onto the porch, and then at half the distance that you're breaking your legs onto the concrete.
With your ankle, you'd need to like more than half it.
Oh, mate, mine would snap just coming out the window.
So the plan is Brian jumps first, and Mrs. Scottish Prepper lands on Brian. She gets out.
No. I'm all for equality. They can go first. I'll land on them.
Actually, see, Mike, the last time we spoke about this, I think maybe on another podcast, remember somebody was talking about like abseiling out of their window?
Yeah, because Shadow lives at a top floor flat.
Yeah. I had a look online to see if there was anything out there, and there's an automatic belay system where it's like you just clip it onto like your belt, and you don't have to do any abseiling or nothing. You literally just jump out, and it takes you down like at a gradual speed. You know, so
I've used them.
Yeah, some of the rock climbing centres have them, Al, so you can go by yourself. So you just get on the bottom, climb up, and then when you finish the trip, you just jump down and it lets you down. I'll tell you what, though, it takes some bollocks to jump off the top of that wall. And
if there's flames coming out the balcony, there's probably a bit more encouragement, right?
I've seen the rock climbing ones. So that the largest indoor rock climbing centre is not too far from where I live at Raffle, and they've got one there. But I didn't know you could get them fitted on your house. And there's like I think that's a German company that makes them or something.
It's called a constant rate descender. You can get them for Petzl.
And they're not fireproof, so the fire kicks off and it melts.
Well, do you know where you'll see them more often than anything? Scottish Fire and Rescue have got them in all of that. They've got safe working at height kits and all the appliances, but the wind turbines have got escape kits, and they're in that, and it's a half metre per second. So basically, if there's a fire on the nacelle, the only way to get out is over the side. So when you do the climb and rescue course for turbines in Kendal, you go up a fake turbine, and then you put the harness on, you clip on, and then you step off, and it drops you. It's quite interesting, actually, if you like heights like me.
Have you ever seen that video of the two guys on the wind turbine when it was on fire?
No.
Have you never seen it? Oh, it's heartbreaking.
Jump?
It's heartbreaking. No, they both stood there. Two guys on a wind turbine. Turbine's on fire. Both the workers are standing beside each other, just watching it, and they hug each other and stuff. It's horrendous, actually. You don't see
there's a rescue,
that, but they don't survive. Those guys.
Oh, that's stupid. There's a way to get out, or there should be. If it's in the UK, it's mandatory. You've got a rescue davit. It goes out over the nacelle. You pop the two doors open, and it swings out over. And then you throw the bag over. Obviously, clip it on. You throw the bag over, and then in one end, it's got a carabiner. You clip it on your harness, and you jump over the side. And then your mate's got to wait as you drop down at half a metre per second, and the other end of the bag comes up, and then he clips on, and he jumps off. It's the only way to get out. And if you're injured as well and you can't climb, so a colleague of mine was doing inspections on the turbine, and the guy from Scottish and Southern that was with him cut his hand, so he couldn't climb down the inside of the turbine. So he had to help him clip on his harness and lobbed him over the side.
Wow, yeah.
When,
Hard pass when it comes to jobs. I know I said I'll do anything at the moment, but that's off the cards.
You'd love my job. It can be quite interesting.
If it's more than 3 steps on a ladder, I'm like,
I don't like heights.
Yeah,
I don't like.
Just taking a quick look online, it was 2 engineers died 2013 on the wind turbine. Piet de Walt. I think they're German or something like that, but there's an actual video, and I don't know if they couldn't get to the escape stuff or whatever, because they're right on the end, and you can see the thing on fire, and they're just both standing there, and there's nowhere for them to go, But there's a video of it because the whole thing was videoed, and
it doesn't take long. It's a natural chimney.
Yeah. Scary. Yeah, I mean, that things like that. Just hearing that should emphasise fire safety to everyone. There's genuinely no excuse, peace times or SHTF times. Not just a case of house fires and stuff like that, but if it is SHTF time, somebody could throw something burning through a window, anything like that. Cost you less than 20 quid for a 2 kilo fire extinguisher from Amazon, or you can see when they're on offer in the centre aisle of Lidl and stuff like that. It's a no-brainer for me to have fire safety ticked off. And as you can see, by all of us here, we all do exactly that. So I just wanted that to be covered and, not just talking about doomsday. But the next one is something we should all have again, and we've probably all got in spades, but needs to be mentioned when it comes to prepping the home. And that's the medical kits, medical preparedness. Now, this doesn't have to be something strapped to your leg, like an IFAC, something like that. This is the one that many people might have in a clear box under the sink, stuff like that. So it's the medical preps for the home and how extensive you should go with that. So, Andy, come to you first. You've got a bit more experience when it comes to first aid and stuff like that, obviously. What kind of stuff do you have in the house, like quantity wise, and for what kind of incident?
So I've got so every day when I go to work, mate, I take pretty much because obviously we've got stuff at work, but I take my own, pretty much just like a boo-boo kit, mate. It's got steri strips, plasters, Germaline, Savlon, all that type of stuff in there, competing things. But in the house, mate, I've got probably two medium-sized ones, one upstairs, one down, and then under the stairs as well, mate, I've got like the main, I suppose you'd call it the main trauma kit, where you've got the Asherman chest seals. I know that's wrong. Some guy told me what it was last week and I can't remember. Apologies. Celox gauze, target kit, all the stuff, mate, that I was trained on that I still know how to do. That's what kit I've got, and that's all in a pelly case, a waterproof pelly case, a large one, under the stairs. That's for something that would be for something dire, mate. Do you know what I mean? If I ever need to use it, that pretty much is a SHTF kit, really.
Yeah.
I can't imagine me ever need to use that in
So do you
peacetime.
keep that? Do you keep, because that's in the Pelly case and separate, and for that, do you keep a separate like bog standard around the house? You know, a box of plasters and stuff like that.
Yeah, so I've got two smaller ones, mate. I've got
Yeah.
one upstairs, one down, and that's got plasters, got stuff to clear your eyes out, bandages, triangle bandages.
Stuff to clear your eyes out. Why did you waste the hospital's time then? What's going on? Wouldn't you?
Oh, mate. Because I got whatever went in there, I got out right. And then Leanne was like, "You need to go to hospital," and I was like, "100%, I'm not going." Right. So then Leanne was like, "Well, we need to ring 111." So we rang 111, and then the woman on the phone said, "I think you should go to the RVI." And as soon as the woman said that, there was no going back. So I got bundled into the car and I got taken to the RVI, and then
Completely
we went
your
to,
choice.
yeah, and then we went to minor injuries, and the lady at the desk said, "Oh, you need to go to A&E to see the triage nurse." And I walked in, mate, and I swear there must have been 200 people, and I was like, "I'd rather go blind than wait here." And I went to see. So anyway, mate, I went to see the triage nurse, who then sent me back to minor injuries. So I went back to minor injuries, and then luckily, mate, Newcastle and Gateshead have got like a veterans program. So if you're a veteran, you get pushed to the front of the queue. So I was only in there maybe 20 minutes.
That's all right.
Much to the dismay of everyone else who'd been waiting there for 3 hours. Who then kicked off because this guy rocked up and got seen straight away. And then I went in, mate, and I could see, like, I did like the eye test. I could see everything. There was no pain. So she gave me some stuff and said, "You're free to go, but you can come back tomorrow for eye casualty." And then I woke up Friday and I was like, "I'm not going back." And that was the end of the story, really.
Can you see though? Can you see us all okay?
Yeah, I'm all right now.
Excellent. Brian, medical supplies seems quite apt at the moment. But what do you have at the moment apart from like an oxygen machine next to your camera?
Yeah, CPAP machine would be handy. So there's a first aid kit in each of the cars. There's 2 first aid kits in the house, and there's 6 first aid kits up there. There's enough to refill all of them in a box. And then there's a pile of shit that I'm not qualified to use. So there's the Celox gauze, there's tourniquets, different things. That's one area that I would like to do more about. I've done the basic first aid course 6 times, but I'd like to do the FREC 3 course, which hopefully next year I want to try and get done, because
For clarity, for everyone else, there's people in the household that do know how to use it though, right?
There's people in the household that should know how to use it that I wouldn't let put a plaster on.
Okay, they're qualified to use it. I'll say that.
Wife's a nurse, daughter's a nurse, other daughter's a student nurse, and I wouldn't let any of them put a plaster on.
This is how
Not a
Brian
chance in
bleeds
hell.
out. This is how Brian bleeds out in SHTF. Go away.
I
no.
just hope, if I ever get injured, I just hope I've got enough strength to grab a stick and poke those 3 fuckers away from me, because they'll kill me.
These are the kind of words that come back to haunt you.
They fucking would haunt me if I let they 3 get near me.
So do you keep that stuff separately as preps in prep containers and then have a regular household box, like I was saying, like a under the sink kind of everyday?
There's 2 full kits. There's 2 full kits in the house. There's a, as Andy would call it, a boo-boo shitty kit with plasters, wipes, and that kind of crap in the back of the cars. And up there's 2 boxes that size, full. So one's got 6 medical kits in it, and the other one was empty, but it's got refills for bandages, gauze, that kind of shit. There's 6 tourniquets up there. There's instant clot, Celox. There's piles of stuff, but a lot of it I wouldn't use unless I was really, really desperate, because I'm not qualified to use it, and somebody would really, really need to be in the shit.
Yeah, definitely. Alan, you spend a lot of time out in the woods. I assume first aid has to be a major factor of stuff like that, because there's lots of things that can kill you. What's your first aid situation around the home?
So my first aid stuff is kind of divided up a little bit. So I've got the general boo-boo kit type box downstairs in the kitchen, because that's the most used box actually. I've got an 8-year-old who thinks parkour is the cool thing right now, jumping off trampolines. He skins his knees and stuff all the time. So that gets just got antiseptic wipes in it, little band-aids, all that kind of stuff. There is a slightly bigger medical kit down there that's got like bandages and stuff in it. And it's like a medical cabinet, I suppose. So the missus has got all sorts of cough medicines and things that probably don't work in there, and painkillers and stuff. That's in there. I've got a small kit in my car. My shed has got a box similar to the size of Brian's, and the only reason I've got that actually is because I worked for a company that was throwing a bunch of stuff out their storage room, and medical stuff's actually quite dear, and they had a ton of it, and I just took the lot. You know, even stuff I didn't know how to use. So I've got a bunch of stuff down there, SAM splints and everything. You know, and I took the lot and I put it in a box, thinking it might come useful. I could replenish stuff or whatever. From an outdoor wilderness point of view,
he's a frigging liar, isn't he? When he came here, he said he wasn't a prepper, and he took it all just in case. That's a prepper.
Well, it was just in case I wanted to sell it. You know what I mean? That stuff's expensive.
All right.
That makes him a klepto, not a prepper.
Yeah, that's hoarding. It's not even neatly organised. It's just all piled in the box. But yeah, I mean, the wildernessy stuff, funnily enough, I mentioned this before, my actual personal wilderness first aid kit is minuscule. It's tiny because you can't really do anything to yourself in the wilderness. You can't give yourself a chest seal. There's no point in carrying an Israeli bandage. You know that you're not likely to get those kind of injuries. If you break your leg, well, you know you're not really going to give yourself put a SAM splint and all this nonsense. You have set different stuff for like mountaineering and things like that. I do have an IFAC kit though as well, which does have an Israeli bandage, a chest seal, all those kind of things, and that's purely because I go hunting, and that's it's a hunting kit for if there's an accident. You know, it's not for me. I'm not going to give myself a chest seal, but if for some reason I happen to be in a place where somebody's accidentally injured that way, that's why I've got that. And I know how to use it as well. So I take the first aid courses at work whenever they come up. I always jump at that opportunity just to get my knowledge updated a little bit.
Yeah, keeping refreshed is always key if you get any sort of courses. That would be the one thing I recommend. And a lot of preppers will just go out and buy medical kit and just, because I saw Joe Blogs on YouTube get it, so I'm going to get it as well. If you've no idea how to use it, you could do yourself with a tourniquet, and they could do themselves a lot of harm, right? If they don't know where to put it and how to put it.
Yeah, you can do a lot more damage, mate, than I mean, to be fair, mate, if at the Scottish meet next year in August, I'll bring my tourniquets, and that'll make people want to go through how to use them.
Yeah.
I'm more than happy to do that if people want to. And there's a guy in the chat there, mate, called Pilgrim, and he just said there things like quick clot and Celux gauze and stuff. He said, yeah, that's true, mate. Oh well, it was when I used it. So it sets, mate, like concrete. So it will stop the bleeding. It'll save your life. But whenever it sticks to, mate, it has to be cut away. So, for example, if your femoral artery in your thigh went, and you put quick clot in or Celux gauze, it sets like concrete. So part of your thigh muscle, mate, or your inside of your groin would end up being cut away when they eventually fixed it.
And it's grim as it sounds. If that was SHTF and there was no hospital, is that then just delaying the inevitable?
Oh, good question, mate. I assume. I mean, yeah, I would assume it is, mate. To be fair,
because surely if that artery's closed off, then that leg's gonna die, right?
yeah. So that's what I'm saying, mate. Like everything like that, everything like I said, mate. I've always said, having on here, all the stuff I learned, mate, was never quality of life saving. It was just purely life saving. So all the stuff we got taught was literally to save life. It wasn't to we weren't thinking, oh, within 5 years' time he'll still have both his legs type thing. It was literally stop that bleed, secure it, and get him somewhere where they can do some real, where they do the real stuff, mate, and save him. So, yeah, you're right, mate. I suppose if it was SHTF, then you would just end up losing the leg because the blood flow will be cut off.
Do you know, I was literally about to mention super glue because I still see people talking about that. the idea being super glue was invented in the Vietnam War to stop bleeding and this kind of stuff. And
Yep.
anybody that's watched Dog Soldiers will see them pouring super glue into the wound and stuff. I got told years ago by somebody who's he was like a paramedic, that it's a terrible idea to do that because the super glue that we have nowadays, it's not the same, and you're probably going to burn yourself or do yourself more damage.
You can get a medical grade glue, which is the equivalent of super glue, and it's the kind of thing they'll glue instead of putting a stitch in, they'll glue your head, sort of thing. So you can get that. Yeah. Super glue will work at a pinch, but you're going to end up in a similar situation to the clotting stuff where that's going to have to be removed at some point. So it's we don't recommend anything medical on here. We're just telling you what we have and our experiences. So let's just quickly, there's a few chats that have come through before that. So Preparing the Path said they do fire flares now, which are cool and work on all fires. So I've not seen these. Does anyone know what these are?
Is that to start one or put one out?
Yeah, I can start a fire with a flare. Yeah, no problem. Yeah, if I type fire flares, they just look like things that burn things. So I'll have to have a further research into that if nobody knows about that one. But yeah, that's a interesting one. I'll look into that. Do you need a specific trauma course before getting a trauma kit, or is it general first aid training sufficient? A trauma kit can be this or it can be this, right? Depends your definition of trauma. Something like Andy's on about, where it's the Pelican case, where it's a real SHTF thing. You're not going to cover that in like an hour's first aid course that your work send you on. It would be much more advanced courses, but they're all accessible. You can actually go for a certificate now and start your path to becoming a paramedic just by going for a level 1 certificate or 2, 3, and like different levels get you different things. You can go and be like a St. John's type of person at an event on the lower levels and stuff. Is that what you're on about, Brian? Going for them certificates? That's the way.
Freck 3's and you also get like mountain trauma courses and push, but the Freck 3 one is the one I want to do, and it's a 5-day course. Mm-hmm. And it does everything from administering oxygen to catastrophic bleed management to intubation, chest seals, splinting, pelvic splints, that kind of shit. It's averages about £500 for the course, and it's 5 days. So I quite fancy that one next year. If I go to book it, I'll give you a shout if anybody's up in Scotland wants to tag along.
I'm up for that.
Good man.
What's this guy doing? Resuscitating somebody with a GoPro on his head. It's going to make great footage, this. Excellent. Yeah, so basically, take as much training as you can. At the end of the day, it's your life, it's your health, and it's your family's life and the family's health. So if you want to wing it because you've bought a book and now you think you can do brain surgery, that's on you. Personally, I would get some more hands-on experience if you can. But yeah, thank you for that.
The Good Samaritans are getting sued a lot as well.
Yes. Yes, I know, yeah. I did CPR, you cracked a rib. Well, I saved your life. Please, can the topic mention appropriate adaptations for caravans and things that may be applicable for bugging out locations as may need travelling prep options? Yeah, we'll try and cover like bases of that as we go through it. To cover the Fireside, if your caravan's on fire, just walk away. It's a write-off. It's probably the best thing for it if you're a Top Gear fan. I have a first aid kit and I'm first aid trained because our daughter was born with a heart condition, but I imagine a trauma kit has a lot more of the basic than the basic first aid items. Andy, do you want to kind of talk us through what your definition of a trauma kit is in this kind of scenario in comparison to a first aid? What extras would that be and what training you think she would need? I
suppose so. The trauma kit that I have, mate, is probably, like I say, it pretty much is an SHF one, and it all the stuff I have, mate, is for things for if people were shot, if people were suffered from an IED, and the leg was blown off, that type of thing. That's all what man's revolved around. And I suppose, mate, to be fair, just thinking about it, you could say it's the same for an RTA or an RTC. Do you know what I mean? All that stuff can still be used. But the trauma kit that I have, mate, would have in it had stuff for clearing airways. It's got the chest seals if you've got a sucking chest wound, like Alan was saying. I've got Celox claws, quick clot. I've got tourniquets. It's pretty much what it says to me. It's anything that's a traumatic injury. Now for me, mate, that would be anything from the way I was trained. Anything that's catastrophic bleed worthy.
Yeah.
So anything that you're losing an extreme amount of blood, usually, mate, anything.
Threat to life, right? Just basically
pretty much, mate. Yeah.
Life,
So pretty much anything in my trauma kit is breathing and blood. That's pretty much it, which covers my kit. Now, obviously, whatever your plan is, mate, or whatever your SOPs are on what you want to do moving forward, that gentleman's trauma kit, mate, might purely be for his daughter's heart condition, which will be a lot different to what mine would be, because obviously I'm fortunate not to have that issue. But to be fair, mate, if he wants to DM me on Discord, I'm happy to list to him what's in my trauma kit if he wants to see what's in mine. And then he can pick and choose what he might want. He might not need everything that's in mine.
Yeah, that's good. A great point. We can definitely discuss further things in detail. This is just like a small section of like the security side of things. So, yeah, go and pick Andy's brains in Discord. That's the best option there. But
I mean, to be fair as well, mate, I'll bring it up to at the prep meet, mate, in August. I'll just bring it up in the Pelly case, so people can rummage through it and ask me what this is, ask me what that is. How do you use this? What's this for? I'll just bring it to the prep meet, mate, and then everybody can have a look and see what they are and see how they work.
Yeah. Okay, cool. Sounds good. I think Roger's booked on as well, who does a lot of the medical stuff. So maybe you two can liaise together. That'd be great.
Yeah.
To do a double thing with that. Awesome. So yeah, the answer to the question is book the Scottish Prepper meet. There we go. What would you recommend for a car first aid kit? Everything we've just mentioned, scaled down. Because especially the trauma things, I would say, for a car, because you're not likely to be shot and stuff in this country in peace times. I'm not saying you won't, but it's unlikely. Whereas a car crash can create them kind of life-threatening injuries where you might need to quick clot something or something like that. So, but I mean, the bottom line of this is, I would say, training, then buy the stuff to match. So if your level is first aid, buy first aid kit, extra bandages, extra gauze, stuff like that. Yeah. If you want to learn and you want to start putting loads of tourniquets in all your kits and stuff like that, because that's what you see all the preppers and the commandos do, make sure you know how to use it. Yeah. Because it can cause a lot of damage. Thank you, Rachel, for the $4.99 super sticker. That's much appreciated. And even girl before.
I mean, to be fair, mate, the question on that question just there, what you should have in a first aid kit for your car, like you say, mate, put in there what you're comfortable, and don't buy one, mate. Don't buy like a ready-made one. Just buy what you need for your car. The thing about the one in the car, mate, for me is it would always be for personal use.
Mm-hmm.
So if I came across an RTC, mate, I would stop and I'd run over and see what the situation's like. But realistically, mate, if there's an RTC, the paramedics, mate, are pretty good at getting there rapid.
Mm-hmm.
So if you come across it on the A1, for example, by the time you've stopped, mate, and rang 999 and got them there, they're going to be there, mate, within minutes, realistically. So there's not actually that much for you to do, I would say.
Yeah, and I mean, I've got quite a big kit in the car. I think if there was an accident or something, I would want to, like Andy says, go over and help. And for any reason, if I did have to quickly cover a wound, even if it was just bandaging something, top tip, take a photo. I mean, the guy's going to think you're a weirdo, but take a photo of it before you strap it up. Because as soon as a paramedic gets there, he's going to want to see that, right? And if he can show him it, he might not have to take that off until he's somewhere where he can actually stitch it up and stuff like that.
To be fair, mate, but one of the best things if you're adamant that you want a first aid kit in your car and you're adamant that you're going to be a first responder and you want to do stuff, one of the best things to keep in there, mate, is a permanent marker. So, for example, if you were that keen and you wanted to do as much as help as you could, if you put a tourniquet on, say for example it was a left lower leg injury, and you put the tourniquet on and get their bleeding to stop, the best thing to do, mate, is write the letter T on his head and then write the time that you put the tourniquet on. So as soon as the paramedic gets there, he looks, right, the tourniquet's been on, I don't know, 7 minutes.
Yeah.
and then you can move from there. So if you do want to do it, guys, I would suggest having 1 or 2 permanent markers in your first aid kit for that purpose. Work on yourself as well, mate. If you need to apply it to yourself before you eventually pass out, you can just write a T and write whatever. I mean, some of the tourniquets, mate, have it have like a little white strip on that you can write on. But 9 times out of 10, mate, they get covered in blood and crap. So we always used to write it on the cheek, mate, or on the forehead.
Yeah, no, my luck, it'd happen at 11:51, and I'm trying to write it on my own head, and I'll just write the word twat across it or something.
Yeah, a dental first aid kit as well. I forgot to mention a little dental first aid kit is quite a good thing to have, just because dental problems are a pain in the arse, especially if you're in a remote location. So even if it's just clove oil, temporary filling, you know what I mean, that goes a long way.
Mike's balls. I recommend the balls. If you look for dental fixing kits on Amazon, they're like little plastic balls. They're better than all these stupid pastes that you get in pots. Honestly, they're wonderful. Thank you very much for another $3.99 super sticker. Really, really appreciate it. Right, let's move off medical because we've done medical on its own thing before. So let's quickly get on to the topic at hand as he looks for his notes. So, quick one. Does anyone live in a flood risk area out of you guys?
No.
Okay, we will touch on it still.
Surely you two do in Scotland.
Yeah, it's
Never stops
you can
raining.
live top of a mountain. It's still a
I'm on a hill. I'm on a hill like this.
It doesn't matter. It's Scotland.
The worst risk, and I often tell my wife this, the biggest risk when you're on YouTube, right, because of the hundreds of thousands of subscribers that we've got.
Bye, monetization. See you later.
If you're walking past and people recognise you, there's a flood risk then. Bye, Mike. Sorry.
Can you go back to shopping?
Back to the coffin.
Right, so
my father-in-law lives in a flood risk area. He's took some precautions, but we maybe cover that. It was interesting to see some of the stuff he's done because he floods every year.
Yeah, I mean, I do want to cover it because there will be people in that situation and stuff. Because I mean, if you're in a flood risk area and you're prepping for World War III, but you don't have a sandbag, then that's the way your thinking's a bit mixed up. We'll come to you in a second, Alan, about him because that might be a good insight. But Andy, wasn't it floods that got you prepping in the first place?
Yes, mate, it was. Yeah, back in 2015. The Christmas of 2015. It was when all the floods were on, mate, in York. And to be, it got that bad, mate. They generally thought that houses were going to get washed away. I'm sure a couple of the bridges in York, mate, did get washed away.
Did you see anything in place then, like prevention wise?
What, down in York?
Wherever you were helping out with it.
The only thing that, to be fair, mate, it was an absolute shit show down there, and they didn't have anything in place, or nothing adequate anyway. And it literally, mate, guys were turning up, filling sandbags, and just trying to divert water and stop as much water as they could. That's literally all it was, and trying to do damage limitation. There was nothing there in place from local government. That any of the lads saw anyway. That was, that was a good idea, or at least they tried this. It was literally, mate, they called the army in and just hoped for the best. And that to be fair, that's all they did. They filled sandbags, mate, as many as they could, try to divert water, try and save stuff, and then obviously helped evacuate people from the houses.
Yeah, I mean, if you are in a flood risk area and it starts to come into the house, it's got beyond that step of the house and it's coming in, looks like it's going to get that way. Don't think, that'll be it. It won't be anymore. That's when you need to be taking action. You need to be turning off the electrics. You need to be moving stuff upstairs if you possibly can. I mean, I'm not saying try and start pivoting a couch up the stairs, but more valuable essential items, make sure you get them out the way that, because it doesn't mix well with electricity most of the time, water. Alan, what happened with would you say it was a father-in-law?
Yeah. So I've got a father-in-law that lives in a town in the south of Scotland, and it's right beside a fairly massive river, and it floods every year, and it gets to where he lives every 2 or 3 years by 2 or 3 foot, but it can get much more than that as well. And last time I was down there, and he was showing me some of the preparations he has. He's got the usual sandbags and stuff because he uses that on a little bit of his path, but all his electrical outlets are raised, so they're not where most people's are. They're actually higher up. He has a plan in place where most of his preps that he has, they're all upstairs. Generally, that's just where he stores stuff. He's took the precaution of making sure he hasn't got like carpets that need replaced every 2 years and stuff like that. And he has this thing that I've never seen before, where it's like, rather than use sandbags, he's got these plastic barrier things, and they go into these two slots.
Is it the L-shaped ones where the weight of the water stops it going
kind
back?
of, yeah. It does use weight of water, but it also has, he's got these slots that it goes into permanently at his door, and on the, now you have vents at the bottom of your house, and it slots over that as well, and it seals it all up, so the water can actually go like 3 or 4 foot up his house before any of it comes in. He also has these valves like that stop water coming up through the toilet and the sink and things like that, and he has a pump for taking stuff out of like he's downstairs. He hasn't got a basement, but he's got like a utility area that floods quite a lot, and he's got like a pump that pumps that water out over those barriers, and he's used it a few times, and he does always get a little bit of damage, but it's far less than if there was 4 foot of water in your house every 3 years. You know, it's.
I mean, if I had to do it more than a few times, I'd be looking at moving.
That's what I said as well. That's what I said. It's Dumfries, actually. That's where he lives. So anybody that knows that area, there's a big river that sort of runs through the middle of it.
I mean, yeah, it's good advice. So, I mean, we can't really go too far into that if we don't prep for it ourselves. Great Gala said, I've bought a throw line, which is in my car in case I see someone in need of help on water. Excellent.
That's a good idea.
I'm digging a waterway to divert a possible flood, says Nelly on the land. Definitely, if you've got the time and resources to do so, that's a good, easy, natural way of doing it. I'm in a field at the bottom. We get a top wash at times. So there you go. Cool. Excellent. I remember a guy a few years back who saved his house by digging a moat around it. Now that's prepping. That's it. Did he have a drawbridge though, and people on the ramparts with balls? That's the question. I'm new to prepping, fellow Scotsman here. What app or site do you guys use most commonly and others in the community? Discord. Miss Worm will post the link. Come and join us. Right. So floods, fire. Medical, that's covered. That's the basics. That's what you should have in peace. You should have even if you're not a prepper. All right, that should be the very basics. So, home security. Okay, we're talking about physical security on the house. Not I'm gonna stand there with 2 machetes like Rambo riding a tiger and scare everybody off. Right, we're talking about physical security on the house, windows, stuff like that. So one of the things I'll mention first is obviously the film. Actually, before, the government gives some good advice. I know. Who is this person? Or how you've changed. You government shill you. I'll get all the comments in this. Let's find the correct window.
Yo, Bri.
So, this is police.uk, and they actually have some really good advice. I expected to load this up and use it as a sarcastic point of like, oh, just lock your windows, you'll be right. But no, it's got window security on there. Anyone can find this on police.uk, and it's talking about the film that you can put over. Laminated glass or security film is recommended for ground floor and accessible windows. Sash stops. Anyone opening the sash window enough to climb through, which is obviously these cable ones. Anyone who's got kids, they're a brilliant thing as well. And the actual locks. So you have different types of locks on the window. If it's opening in, for the old ones, you can have like a little turnkey, but usually they're opening out, so these cable ones are better as well. Key operated locks. Window opening restrictions allowing you to ventilate a home, but make sure it can't be picked or unlocked from the outside. And it goes on to further advice for the burglars have been known to access upper windows via ladders. So that's Alan's escape plan out the window, because they're just going to get in when he's got a fire. And then the door security from the same site is really good. They've got all the points of interest there. If your door has a letterbox, a guard fitted to the rear of your door will prevent someone reaching in with a stick and a hook, getting keys and stuff like that. Also, I've got lockable letterboxes, so if in the bad times you can just completely close it off. Windows, again, if you've got windows in your front door, my first advice would be don't, but if you have, then you can use the same film on there. Spy holes, it points out, obviously, and then deadbolt locks down here. It's great advice from the police. It's almost like they're saying, this is why we don't use battering rams anymore. And then all the different lock systems you can use there. So 2 great pages on the police.uk site and a great starting point. So, still with us, Brian? He's all right.
Sorry, excuse me.
I need his vitals on screen. Andy, apart from the odd tiger, what security have you got in place when it comes to windows, doors, anything extra?
Gorillas.
No,
but when we moved in, we switched the locks out to better locks. Use longer screws. In all the latches. Had a new
door frames as well.
Yeah, on door frames, yeah, and on the hinges. In case because people always assume that people go for locks, but if they go for the hinges as well, put longer screws at the hinges. And then I had a new garage door fitted, mate, which is more secure. And I've also made so when you open a garage door, the top folds in, doesn't it, and the bottom kicks out.
Yeah.
So inside my garage, mate, I've got if I go away for any long period of time, like if I go on holiday or whatever, I've got a steel bar, mate, that I secure to the girder at the top, which stops the top of the door folded in.
So it literally could not open even if
you couldn't not. Yeah, you'd have to try and peel the bottom up. But then on the outside, mate, I've got one of those. You probably see them outside loads of garage doors, like the little T-bar that you've got in the concrete that stops the bottom folding out. So I've got one both ways, mate. So you couldn't open in or out. And that's pretty. And I've got the usual stuff that you double glazing has, mate. The locks on the windows with the keys. Yeah. But that's pretty much it, mate. Really. I haven't got. To be fair, I'm after a new front door, mate. Really. Probably one of those ones. Yeah, one of those ones we ran about earlier.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, that's all I've really got, mate. Really security wise.
Excellent. Brian, have you got anything added security on doors, windows, stuff like that?
Longer screws, first and foremost. Mm-hmm. But in normal times, that would be it. And adverse times, then basically there's 2x4s in the other shed next door. I would just slot them in.
Okay. Are they pre-cut to?
No, but it's 2 minutes because there's so many bits of wood in there that they might be needed for different things. So they'd be chopped at a time for the job that they needed.
Right. Okay.
Ultimately, you're just going to force somebody to go noisy. You're buying time and minutes to force them to go noisy.
100%. Yeah. You're not
before
somebody's determined to get in, you're not going to stop them.
No.
By conventional means,
Yep. And then it's other options. But
getting out, he means, of course. Running away.
Yeah, something like that. Security cameras, alarm, PIR floodlights, that kind of shit.
Oh, to be fair, mate, sorry, I've got a Ring doorbell as well, if anybody's interested.
Yeah, I mean, security cameras are great. I mean, I think most people cover with that. It's kind of everyone, we prep a lot to do with losing power, so I think it's kind of looking beyond that most of the time is what we're looking at the moment.
That's
a weird looking mace, that, Alan. What's going on there? It looks like
that's his S&M kit.
It looked like loads of stickers from the 90s.
There is a little bit of a story to him. I knew we would talk about security cameras, so I'll get onto that in a minute. These are security cameras, my old ones.
They look like the dummy ones that used to be up in Woolworths, and no one ever chased me for pick and mix.
Back in the day, these little security cameras were fantastic, and they only cost 20 quid each, which is why I've got a bunch of them. They're called drug dealer security cameras because it's the ones the drug dealers used to use.
Right. Okay. Okay. we won't ask why you got them then.
No, I'll explain.
Yeah.
Where is
Sorry,
that one?
Brian, did you finish that one? Sorry.
No, I was going to say the ones that I've put up, you can look at them when you're away from home on your phone. You
Yeah.
can pan them 360. But more importantly than that, if the grid goes down, you can get a small USB power bank and just plug it into it, and you've still got your cameras.
Yeah. Can you power the actual cameras from it? Yeah.
Yep.
Right,
It's got a 5-volt input to a USB, and you just plug it straight into that. And then, as long as your router in the home's got power, so with your little power bank or whatever, you can still look at your exterior security cameras and slew them round and listen through them as well.
Is that internet dependent, or is it directly to the router to the device, so you can do it even
Yeah.
offline? Right.
Yep.
Excellent.
Yep.
Yeah, that's good. There's too many of these
And they're
systems
cheap.
now are subscription dependent, or you've got to be online, you've got to be connected to the internet, otherwise they just stop working.
No, these ones, if the grid goes down, you just take the plug out, put them into a small USB, camera's got power, and then your router plug into a power bank, your local area network still works, and you can look at your phone, you can slew the cameras round about, you can zoom in and out, you can speak through them, and you can listen through them as well. So they're brilliant for the money.
What kind of power consumption they have if you plug it into a power bank?
It's nothing, mate. It's like 5 watts or something.
Yeah, so last a while.
So
definitely.
a little power bank like that, unless you're doing, because they've got lights on them as well. So if you want, you can flick the lights on as well. If you want to be a bit more overt.
Yeah. Cool. Excellent. Great. I want to hear. You'll have to send me some details on that, because the cameras
Mike.
I bought were a write-off.
Mike, this is what you do, mate, to charge your power bank. You get the lead, and then if you just plug it in the bottom here.
Don't make me laugh, you cunt.
He's killed Brian.
Ah,
Alan, moving swiftly on, tell us about your drug dealer cameras.
Well, back in the day when I lived on a ground floor, 1-bedroom flat, I got myself a bunch of these cameras. They're really cheap. They work over they work over broadband. So you need to have an internet connection, and you get the same app on your phone. You can view these from anywhere. They've got alarms, IR, night vision, all that kind of stuff, and they're cheap. You know, they cost me like between £15 and £20 each at the time. These are about 7 years old now, and I bought these and I put them at every single one of my windows in the flat and at the door, so I could see all around what was going on. And you should see the wild stuff that I captured on these cameras over the years. Now, the reason they're in a pile like this, and I don't use them now, one, I've upgraded. I'll mention the ones I've upgraded to in a minute, but a bit of a word of warning. Although there was no subscription to these and they were dead cheap, the company went bust, and so did their app, which rendered all the cameras useless. Now, so you couldn't use them. Now, there is another system called Home Assistant, which does work with these. Apparently, people online are saying you can do that. I never bothered. I just took that as an opportunity to upgrade my camera systems. So when I moved into this house a few years ago, I got some new cameras. I use a company called Reolink. There's no subscription to them. They have doorbells as well, like the Ring doorbell, only there's no subscription. Works exactly the same. They have PoE cameras, which is power over Ethernet, which means you don't have to rely on being connected to broadband, etc. My cameras at the moment, I've only got 3 at the moment, and places around the house are over the internet, but they have the function to put them into like your own sort of I forget what they call it, but it's basically like a big hard drive, and you can then wire
so you can store it locally.
Yeah. So the cameras I've got just now, they've got a USB, a card in them, but I can transfer it so it can remotely send the data to that. So if somebody steals the camera, they don't steal the footage, etc. They also have floodlights that you can put on, the exterior of your house that have a camera as well, and they're quite inexpensive. It's a really good company, actually. Reolink, I think they're called. There's a few other ones as well, but they look like the best to me so far.
Yeah.
It will probably change in a couple of years.
Yeah.
So that's what I go with cameras.
What brand are yours? Someone was asking there, Brian.
Gallium. I can't link it just now, but I've done a video on them, and on the 24 hours without power video, it's featured on that as well, and actually show it being powered on a little USB power bank. So there's 2 videos on the channel. I'll dig them out later.
I actually thought he was going to say there were eco floor cameras then.
The one I've got at the back came with its own little solar panel, and it was only this.
Thank God for that.
Thing,
Fuck off you.
So, one thing.
I was just about to say, so I've not needed to charge it since I had it. So thanks for that, Andy.
One thing I will say about those real link cameras, if you're buying them on Amazon, they fluctuate wildly in price. So see when Amazon do like a Prime Day or something, they knock like 30% off them straight away, 40%. So that if a camera is normally 110 quid, they knock quite a bit off of it during the sale. So it's a good idea to keep them in like your list and then just check in on them. That's what I do. And then when they're on offer, I just buy 1 or 2 of them. Pretty good.
So, I mean, Andy mentioned the bar that he puts in place over the garage, and obviously the T-bars on the floor and stuff to stop that opening. That's kind of a step beyond what Joe Bloggs, the non-prepper, would do security-wise. Have you got anything like that, Alan? Physical security on the house that you think is because of the way you think?
So, there's a couple of things, right? Physical security on the house, not so much. The doors and the windows in this house are pretty modern. I have looked at wedges and bars and stuff that you couldn't put on the doors, and that makes them kind of barricade proof. Yeah, those kind of things. It was actually you that gave me the idea for those things, I think. Yeah. But you can get a bar as well that literally clips so nobody can kick your door in, not easily anyway. Which is why the police use chainsaws a lot nowadays. Because
so you can get these that mount either side of any door, and they just sit there. You wouldn't see anything, and then pieces of wood in Brian's shed would just drop in, or a metal bar drop in, whatever you wanted to drop in. So they would just sit there. I mean, it could be a glorified coat hook, I suppose, at the sides of your doors. It'd be a weird place for it, but I like them. They're linked below on Amazon. The only thing I would say is I've seen them, I've had them. The screws are crap. Get longer, better screws. So that's the only thing I'll say.
There's a bollard in my driveway, which I didn't put there. It was there when I came here, which is good for if you're on holiday and you leave the cars and stuff behind. The guy that owned the house before me, he had a big caravan. That's why he had the bollard there.
One that just goes up in the centre to...
You just put the holes sort of in the ground that's concreted in, then you just put the bar in, then you put a padlock in it. It's just a preventative measure for stealing caravans, I think. But there's one alarm which I think everybody should consider getting, and this also answers the question that whoever it was that was saying, can you talk about external stuff bugging out types features? Fantastic alarm here. Driveway alarms. Driveway alarms are amazing. Okay, here's one that I've got here. Basically what these are, this is a receiver and it takes batteries or it plugs in, and this is the alarm, which just uses an IR sensor type thing, and it also takes batteries. They last 3 years without having to change them. They don't require any connection whatsoever.
Yes, that's good for me, Andy, I know.
They work up to half a mile, and you can connect 16 of these to this. And the way I use it is I've got this in my bedroom. Bit of a show and tell here because I knew we were going to talk about it. But I've got this in my bedroom, and I've got this inside my garage, my shed, where my motorbike is and stuff. And you can put them on your driveway and things like that as well, which is obviously what they're for. But you hear the noise when somebody sort of opens the door, it makes that ping, and you can place them all over the place, and it makes a different tone based on the noise that it makes.
Oh, so you can set a different tone per sensor?
Yeah, a different tone per sensor. And because it's like, it says 1, 2, 3, 4, but you can add 16 to it, you can say, like, if you've got a very long driveway, for example, sensor 1 goes off, makes a certain noise, sensor 2 goes off, makes a different kind of noise, your back door makes a different kind of noise. And I mean, this isn't even the best one now, because I had a look on Amazon to see how much they were. And they're you can get like a pack of 4 for 70 quid. They're not that expensive, but you can get far better ones nowadays that do a lot more stuff, and they're weatherproof. There's one that's shaped like an owl. I forget the name of it, but you will see it on Amazon. That's the best one by the looks of it. So I highly recommend these, because you can literally take this into the woods and set up a perimeter half a mile wide with all the ways into where you are, and it would be like an early warning alarm system. In America, people use
what's the
these for
range?
wildlife. 1/2 mile.
That's from the sensor to the receiver.
Yep.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, so that's amazing. That's pretty far. Some hunters use these in America for game trails and things like that. I don't think that's legal in the UK. Actually, use alarms for game trails, but you could use it for people if they were trying to creep up on you in the night or whatever. But yeah, pretty cool system.
Excellent. I'm gonna have a look at them myself. That's really cool. We'll come to the comments in a minute. I had a few things highlighted here. I just put the pictures up. But I had a picture of the ladder I was on about. So these are the emergency ladders. They fold up into they're all material, so there's no solid bars. So practice going up and down them sort of thing. But it's they can just be rolled up and dropped down out of any sort of height. And I highlighted this. If anyone knows what this is.
Yeah, the tripwire blank fire ones.
Yeah, there you go. That they fire 12 gauge blanks that are about this big, and you can buy them off Amazon. Like, it's not like something you've got to get from specialists, but like Alan was on about perimeter. These could set up a tripwire and stuff like that. So they're really cool. I mean, a big bang next to you when you're walking up to somebody's camp not just alerts the person, it also probably scares the crap out of the person sneaking up. That's what I've just held up there. They're not as sturdy, so I've also linked solid rubber wedges, right? A wedge, often in the States, people are putting them in kids' school bag now. Why? Because if there's an incident in a school, and I'm not saying we're immune to incidents in a school, but if the kid has a wedge that's in the bag, takes up no space whatsoever, it can jam it under a door in a safe place. But wedges are great. You can do that for interior drawers, and like Brian said before, you're talking about buying time. So if you've got an internal door, they've got through the first one, something like this on the internal one is just going to buy you that few extra minutes sort of thing. I showed the bars. This is a temporary lock. So if you're traveling on the go, whoever was on about bugging out and caravans and stuff like this can be used anywhere you go for any door to lock it when it hasn't got a lock. Or let's say you are going somewhere to acquire supplies, or you're bugging out to somewhere that you might have to get into and damage the conventional lock. This is a good thing to carry to re-secure that door behind you. And the same with this. This is the ultimate doorstop. It's a fancy version of the wedge I showed you, pretty much, with door jams. So they're cool.
Looks like one of Hawkins' sex toys.
It is. Yeah, it's... I scribbled out a different word and put the word door in front of it. You can guess what the previous word was. So let's
Back door.
He engineered it. Cheaper night vision actually works for shorter ranges. Interestingly, somebody had that at the bug out thing. They had some Temu night vision. I was like, oh, I've got to see this, how terrible this is. It's pretty good. It was light and plastic and felt like if you dropped it from more than a foot, it'd smash into pieces. But once you focused, the little screen was quite high definition, to be fair for it. So that's good. Night vision generally is quite expensive, though. Need to use careful with WI cameras and doorbells that work on 2.4 gigahertz band, as it's very easily disabled with a Wi-Fi deauthorizer. There you go. It's good to know. I mean, the thieves around here are not that tech savvy. Most thieves are opportunists. Bear in mind, they're walking around looking for the open door, the open window, and the stupid mistake. That's what they're looking for most of the time. We use Very Sure. They installed a smoke device if someone breaks in and we're not in. Oh, is that where it fills the room? I've seen them. You've seen them ones that fill the room with smoke?
Smoke curtains.
Yeah. That's I just imagine it's a massive cleaning job after that. Grease, useful alarms too if you are country folk. Geese, sorry, not grease, geese.
I was going to say, what you try to do, scare them into no coming back? What's involved with this, Grease? You'll never be back in these parts again.
I leave the empty 10-gallon Vaseline barrel out the front. It's a deterrent enough.
Tell the other Roberts what you saw here. Oh, bollocks.
Miss Worm is linking some of the stuff I've said. I'm not sure what door thingies are because there was a lot of door security in there, but thank you for putting the links in there. Oh yeah, there you go. Brian put it up. Galayu 2K security camera outdoor 360 CCTV camera. There you go.
It's less than 30 quid.
Bargain. There you go. I'm going to star that just so I've got it for after. Just seeing if there's any questions, Jed. Following. What are people's views on these smoke machines that some shops use? They sell them for domestic use now. That's what we were just talking about. What do you think about that, Jed? Do you think filling your own house full of smoke if somebody breaks in is a good idea?
No.
No, it wouldn't be for me.
No, I think I would maybe consider it if I had like a big garage or something. You know what I mean? And you had like a lot of tools, expensive tools, and a camera set up in there. You'd maybe want to fill that full of smoke because it's a snatch and grab deal. They're not really doing that in your house, but they might do it in a garage. You know,
Yeah.
that's why you see them in jewellery shops and stuff.
Yeah. Interesting. I would like to see how much they are for domestic. That's probably the kicker for that one more than
Thing is,
anything
the
else.
risk versus reward.
Yeah.
It hinders their vision, but also yours and your family's. So it could hinder your escape and evasion, stumbling about. What turns into a snatch and grab could turn into somebody blindly lashing out with a knife or whatever. If I was going to fill it with smoke, it wouldn't be with that kind of machine.
Yeah. Well, I mean, with my luck, it'd probably go off Christmas Day when we're all eating dinner and stuff like that, because we know I'm good with technology and stuff, so I'll forget to charge the smoke machine.
My wife's quite good at filling the house with smoke, but generally it involves cooking.
Quick, we're being burgled. Get some toast on.
We're perfectly safe. It's about 7 o'clock at night.
Is that legal in the UK, setting off blanks?
Yes.
Yes, to a degree. Don't go into the town centre and start setting off blanks. Armed police will take you down very fast. It's a common sense thing, right, at the end of the day. On the railways, we used to have, it was almost the same sort of charge as a 12 gauge. And it was like in a blasting cap. And it had two, like, lead arms. And you put 3 of them around the rails. And that was your last warning that a train was coming to get off the track, sort of thing. And that would go like bang, bang. It wouldn't derail a train, but it would certainly alert you more than anything else if the signalman had fell asleep down the line. But yeah, the tripwire, I wouldn't say it's something you would set up in your house during peace times. You know, the postman takes a shortcut and thinks he's being shot at. It's probably not good for your reputation. It's kind of one of those bug out bag things. Securing a campsite, securing an emergency location, that kind of thing. I think all blanks are legal, and it's the
It's the use that's the thing.
Yeah, but if it's a replica firearm, that's when it starts to get into where you can use it and stuff like that, right?
You technically you don't need a shotgun license to own You can buy shotgun cartridges without a license. You're not likely to have sold them, but you don't technically need a license for the cartridges, and you don't need to lock them up like ammunition you do. But shotguns you don't.
Aye, shotgun ammo you don't need to lock up. Yeah,
the ammo, yeah. The shotguns you do, but the cartridges you don't.
Does that include when it's a slug?
Yeah,
shotgun,
no, that's different. That's
slug.
section 1.
Yeah, it's different.
Right,
It's
okay.
Slugs aren't legal hunting rounds in the UK. I don't believe.
Blanks are fire, like used by farmers on bird scarers. Yep, there you go.
They used to use them for airsoft a lot in the Dynatech blank fire grenades.
Yeah. And
9mm and the 12 gauge.
Yeah. Well, with the reenacting, if you hadn't got your shotgun license, you could still be on the artillery crew, and you could have a 9mm Army Colt or Navy Colt, which fired the 9mm brass blanks. You didn't need a license to do that. So
there used to be a separate black powder certificate, which I think I think they might have integrated that now in Scotland into something else. I was getting asked about it a while ago. It's never been something I'm interested in, so I've never properly looked into it.
It used to be 2, and there was levels of black powder license. So it's about how much you can hold, because the artillery people had to have and the pyrotechnics people had to have a different certificate, because they were dealing with huge, £10 charges, not just rounds.
It raises its heads with shotguns and section 2 stuff as well, because people will ask how much ammunition you're allowed to store, and it's how long's a bit of string, because it depends on the charges that you've got in them. It'll depend on how much powder you've got in the home.
Yeah, yeah. Well, this is it. We never really stored it. It was like one or two people in the society that used to store it. But yeah, my stepdad had the black powder license, which was separate from his shotgun license. I can't see any questions on that. Is that the same in England and Scotland? I'm not sure. You'd have to look into that. I'm not really all fair.
Usually not is the answer to that question. If it's anything to do with legal stuff, it's usually different.
You have a license for a bloody air rifle in Scotland.
Yep.
You do, yeah. Yep, you do.
Absolute nightmare. Right, cool. Thank you for that. Doors, windows, yep. General, blah, 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 blah. So, the next one is like visual security and more in after it happens kind of thing. So we know what kind of security you guys have had. So everyone's making notes so they can come and rob you and steal your beans after SJTF, because obviously you're sharing all your knowledge. But outside and visual security, will anything change for you if something happens? I've heard people talking about rolling out razor wire, sandbagging, boarding up windows, etc., etc., etc. Do you have plans in place for stuff like that? We'll come to you, Brian, first this time.
Yes, but it's a trade-off, and it would depend how bad things actually are. The more overt you're, so in peacetime, it'll be passive and visual deterrents. So there'll be passive deterrents that aren't going to actually do anything. There'll be visual to deter. In SHTF, you might want a more active defence. You might want less visual deterrents. You might, if you've got razor wire round about your house, people are going to think there's something in there worth stealing. Mm-hmm. So unless there's a real need to make it a magnet, come here and rob the shit out of me, I would only put something like that up if I had to. And to be honest, with razor wire, the dearest thing's buying the gloves. The razor wire's cheap as shit.
Yeah. Yeah, you can get some anti-cut gloves quite cheap now, so they've come down a lot with stuff like that. And not full chainmail, but this fancy material that's supposed to work. So,
but it's a trade-off, in my opinion. It's a trade-off.
Yeah, yeah. So it depends kind of what situation you're at and what level.
If people are marauding about and they're actively going door to door and kicking things in and stuff, then you would push your perimeter out past the walls first and foremost, and try and slow them down before they get to the door, and then potentially more active defences would be involved before they get to the door.
Yeah, yeah. Alan, visual deterrence? You got machine gun nests on the garage, anything like that?
As much as I'd love that, not really. I mean, it's kind of like what Brian says. It's like the OPSEC scenario, isn't it? I mean, you don't want to draw too much attention to yourself if you're the only person doing it. You know, if you're the only person in the street with barbed wire around your house and boards on your windows, you kind of draw attention to yourself. So it would depend on the situation. I mean, did anybody see the pictures of the Notting Hill Carnival before it took place? All the houses along the route boarded up their doors and their windows and put big fences up and all that kind of stuff. And they do that every year now because they know that peaceful, carnival usually results in every store window and house window getting smashed up and doors getting kicked in and multiple people getting stabbed and stuff. So every year those people prepare for that because they know that's likely to happen. But you should have some exterior deterrence because like a burglar, for example, if he's casing your house, he's not just going to be casing you, he'll probably check the whole street. So if he's walking about and he sees a row of 10 houses and 5 of them have got Ring doorbells and a little flashing alarm, and decent looking doors, and then the other 5 have got absolutely nothing, some cheap one glazed windows or something, they're going to narrow it down to the point of, well, he's got a dog sign in the window, I don't know if he's got a dog or not, but I'm not going to bother, so I'll just move to the next one. He's got a Ring doorbell, this guy's got it, and so it's like the happy medium thing. But depending on the situation, I would always just ramp up and ramp up and ramp up. Eventually, I can see a point where I'm standing at the end of my driveway like a crazy person on a rocking chair, staring at people as they walk past. But you know, at what point that's at, I don't know.
That's just a Tuesday for Brian.
Yeah, I mean, it depends where you.
Sometimes a Friday.
It depends where. Yeah, it depends where you live as well. That first house I was talking about, that was a bit of a sketchy area. That's why I went out and bought 10 cameras and surrounded my flat with them. You know, because there was comings and goings all the time, and I was on the ground floor, so I felt vulnerable. So I prepared myself as much as possible. Where I live just now, it's a bit quieter, so I'm not so gun ho about it.
So do you have the question's more so, do you have like a shed with defenses in that you could deploy, or is it just going to be winging that as it goes along?
I would have to wing that. I don't have a shed with like barbed wire at the ready or anything like that. I don't have nothing like that, no.
Yeah. Andy, visual deterrence and stuff further afield, if it was actually getting like a Larry SHTF situation, do you have plans in place? Do you have further from your front door defenses?
I've got stuff for the I've got stuff pre-cut, mate, for the windows.
Okay.
But that's more so mate, for if the riots happened again. Do you know what I mean? And there was people and more civil disobedience, really. To protect the windows, mate, and protect the property. And then also when you come through my front door, mate, you've got maybe, I don't know, 3 foot before you hit the stairs. Yeah. So I've got different lengths of wood pre-cut there, mate, that would go along the bottom, middle, and top. And then they would just get wedged into various points on the stairs, onto the treads.
Okay. Yeah.
So I've got stuff like that, mate, but I haven't got anything like like people in the chat, mate. I haven't got barbed wire or anything like that. I've got nothing set up in that instance.
So I mean, all of you kind of in the similar sort of boat. Do you think if it was, I mean, we're watching the news like hawks at the moment, both mainstream and non-mainstream, because we know there's stuff all over the place on the edge. If it was getting closer to that, do you think a trip to B&Q would be in order for any of you to get things like that?
Yeah,
yes,
definitely.
Yeah, definitely,
yeah. So it's definitely on a plan list more so than a physical prep.
I don't think you should ever write anything like that off. You should always be prepared to go like full lock-in mode if you really need to, and yeah, you should have a plan in place to like board up your windows and lock your doors properly and stuff like that.
You know, for a guy who says he's not a prepper, Al, you say prepared an awful lot.
Said this.
I don't have the stuff, therefore I'm not a prepper. I'm just thinking about it.
Vanessa, when we were talking about the shells and the ammunition, said, "Can you do reloading in the UK?" I think she means where you can make your own shells.
Yeah.
You can do that, yeah.
I
assume it falls all under the same licensing and stuff like that.
It's an expensive hobby. It's an expensive hobby, is what that is.
Yeah, that's more expensive than just buying it, I assume?
No, it's cheaper than buying the rounds, but the initial outlay.
Yeah, to get started kind of thing. Yeah, cool. But yeah, we can do it. Thank you for the question, Vanessa. Polonium says, get a beware of the dog sign, whether you have a dog or not. It is literally a quid from a pound shop. And make sure you get it with like a nice, scary-looking dog, not just like a Chihuahua.
Just one on that, Mike. When I lost my German Shepherd, 2 years ago. My German Shepherd, mate, was by far the best prep that I had.
Yeah.
For house security, because he would know miles ahead of time if somebody was coming to the front door.
Yeah. Definitely.
And he was big, so he was 50 kilos. He was a huge dog, mate. And you could open the front door and he would run at people and they would soon run off. Yeah. And obviously when you would walk around the estate, mate, people would cross over the road. So he was the best prep, mate, really, in terms of... And to be fair, mate, dogs in general, I think, are good preps for that type of thing. Like Alan was saying, mate, if they go at the front door and hear a dog barking, it's easy just to go next door, mate, where there is no dog.
Yeah, that's it. It's just another threat that they don't have to deal with. A sign's a great thing, like Polonium says, cost you £1. Having a dog, an actual dog, is probably...
Funnily enough, see that alarm I was talking about earlier, the driveway alarm, the one that's shaped like an owl, which I can't remember the name of, but you'll see it. It has a feature that barks like a dog. So
does it bark like a dog, or does it bark like a cheap speaker trying to?
No. It's the alarm itself. The one that you put outdoors just activates a device that's plugged in indoors. You can put it in your hall, and it actually sounds like a dog. So somebody walking by your garden, it would sound like a dog in the hallway. if you don't have a
Oh,
dart.
that's cool. That's cool. Preparing the path. This is one for you, Brian. Says me in a gimp suit at the garden. That will stop anyone. So there you go.
Just so everyone aware,
Well,
he
It's
is
never a no.
so he's an ex-Royal Engineer. So now
That
you know,
explains-
guys, what they
that
get up to
explains.
in their spare time.
This is a good one, and this is something I've thought about when it comes to like if I'm got the off-grid land and stuff. When I've been looking at country lanes and how they're laid out, Nelly on the land says I've earmarked trees to block paths that can be cut away after the threats have gone. I've seen a few people that have discussed this kind of thing, especially when they've got like a single track country lane that leads to their property. To fell a tree is a massive security thing, especially for vehicles and stuff. It's not an easy to get through. So thank you for that one. Pete says razor tape is hardcore version of barbed wire. Barbed wire? That's a different thing. Rachel says my gate is padlocked shut. I have gravel on the driveway and can always hear someone coming. This is a really good one. People have gravel in the garden and they have a perfectly flat path, stuff like that. Having gravel that people have to walk over is no inconvenience to you, but you can hear them a lot. And never underestimate spending a bit more on a good quality padlock. Yeah, don't get your padlocks from Poundland and expect them to hold anyone back. So thank you for that, Rachel. Appreciate that one.
Yeah.
James Dog Rosebush. This was advised to us during a firearms inspection to help with our rear security. Just as sharp as barbed wire, but zero risk of getting in trouble, plus zero attention. There you go. I like that idea. Somebody else put spiked plants under windows, Snapdragon, so that's a good one as well.
I was going to say, I don't know what the laws are on having barbed wire on your fence. I don't know if you can do that or not, but you can get that. No, the plastic strips that are for anti-birds or something, anti-pigeon type
Yeah,
things.
the spikes.
The-
Yeah, the spikes.
Yeah. They just nail
You
it
can
to
get
the
them.
top of your fence. They're sharp as hell. You wouldn't want to like grab onto that. But barbed wire along your fence, I mean, apart from looking ridiculous, I don't know if that's legal to do that actually.
Yeah, there's an over certain footage, and I think it's it can't be a residential path and stuff like that. There's situations you can do it in, situations you can't. But for me, barbed wire would be a deployable thing after rule of law had gone out the window anyway, more than anything else. It wouldn't be a permanent fixture for me. Cool. Just scrolling down the comments here. We are planting hawthorn, holly, and dog rose on the farm to keep scruffs out of our land.
Scruffs.
I mean, you've got to be able to get onto your own land, though, Jay. So what are you going to do there?
He never leaves it, does he?
Range distance markers, so others can comprehend their actions have consequences.
I like that.
I like that.
That is a really good one. That is a really good one. Thank you. Yeah, that's awesome. It just reminds me of Zulu, where he's out putting the range markers out all this way to get shot by a bloody bullet from Yorkshire. We have Jackawawa, and it has upped the ante on our security, but small but mighty, says MD Lovers. They're loud though. I mean, despite these little dogs not probably being the most ferocious compared to like the German Shepherds and stuff, they're noisy. They're definitely
It's like you say, mate. It's still an early warning system. It's still going to alert you before you would know.
It depends how much it alerts you to. If it alerts you every time somebody even farts in your direction, you'll get used to it, and it'll become normalcy bias. When somebody's trying to break in, you'll just be going, "Shut up, dog." We can have ammo certain types illegal here. Currently, no limits on how much I store all ready to go. Says Vanessa. Section 2 is 10,000. Crazy amount of cartridges.
Depends on the cartridges. Depends on the powder charge.
Right.
If you've got 10,000 skeet rounds with a 26 gram cartridge, and you've got 10,000 that's 56 gram, entirely different amount of powder.
Right. So is it based on the total explosive amount?
It's based on the total charge.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
I can't remember what it is, but there is a figure for it. But it is ridiculous. You can literally have thousands and thousands of rounds for shotgun.
Yeah.
Allegedly.
Jay says we tend to use a gate. Well, so will they. Mike has never met a Chihuahua. I have. It was dead friendly. Barbed wire on fence is illegal. I worked for a company whose Harris fences were fencing that were wire prongs on the top, and they were sued by someone who impaled themselves while breaking into a site. That's the problem, right? That's the problem. The culture today. I've hurt myself trying to break into your thing. I'm suing you. What?
And they'd probably succeed. That's how fucked up it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Jimmy the junkie with 16,000 convictions hurts himself breaking into your house and gets your claims you in court.
I had the case. So we had I can't remember what it was a course that we went on. It was a work course I went on at one point, and the guy was telling us about all the different health and safety things. And it was a case in the States where somebody had broke into somebody's house while they were on holiday, and they'd been rooting around the house, getting all stuff, putting it in bags because they knew they were away for 2 weeks. They'd taken the time, kind of thing. They went into the garage, which automatically closed behind them, and had no way of opening it from the inside the garage. Right? Couldn't get out the garage door. There was no release for that, and he couldn't get out the door. Survived off a tap that was in the garage and a bag of dog food for a week till they came back and found him. He sued them and won for having an unsafe garage.
Fuck. Did they charge him for the dog food and the water then?
Yeah, they had to take that cost back. Yeah, madness. Absolute madness. Cool. I think we're towards the end of the questions now. The only other thing, blah, blah, blah. So the other thing is just common sense, really. Don't leave your valuables on display. Don't have. I love going past people's houses at night when they've got a 62-inch TV that is pointing towards the window. It's like, come and rob me. So just a bit of common sense. Any extras on security, gents, before we end tonight?
Can I just add one tiny caveat?
Of course.
Don't do anything in rule of law that would see you locked up when you should be out helping your loved ones when the shit does hit the fan. Yes. So don't do anything stupid. Don't have anything stupid. Don't break any laws, because if you're locked up in jail, then who's going to look after your family?
Yeah, definitely, 100%.
Get yourself an IKEA lamp. That's the way ahead. A heavy IKEA lamp. Put it at the bedside.
Fuck off, yous. Honestly, if I get through this without fucking joke.
So there we go. Don't be an idiot. Buy a lamp. Andy, have you got any final additions on security?
No, mate, I don't.
Just gorillas and tigers, yeah?
Yeah, gorillas and tigers, mate. So if I do end up in prison, guys, one of you three is going to have to come down and take the tigers. I'll let you have them.
What does it eat? Does it eat left?
Hawkins. If it eats Hawkins.
All right, yeah.
So just feed it Hawkins, it'll be all right.
We're gonna have to end because we're gonna kill Brian. But there is 166 people in here, so I will do it quickly. Alan, tell them about your channel if they've not already seen it.
It's World Survivalist. It's pretty much just me sort of camping most of the time, kit reviews, outdoory type based stuff. So if you're interested in the bugged out side of prepping, that's where you would go for that.
Excellent. There you go. So Mr. Worm will probably put the link in there for you. Andy, do you want to tell them, pick a channel and tell them about it?
Yeah, guys, I've got a UFO paranormal channel called Shadows and Sightings, and that's got all stuff on there, guys, from UFOs, ghosts, shadow men, all that weird stuff that everyone's into. So if that tickles your fancy, guys, go over and have a look at my videos. Including
Andy's personal experience with stuff like that as well. So literal eyewitness stuff. So
and it's got stuff from my time in the military as well, guys, as well.
Yeah.
That's all.
There you go. So go and check that one out. Awesome. Brian, tell us about Scottish Prepper 73.
I tend to do things that discuss the power grid, making your life a bit easier should the grid go down, and reviews on solar panels, power banks, generator sets, that sort of shit, and long life food and general prep nonsense.
Right. Cool. Awesome. Somebody's come in from one of your channels called Turret Destroyer and made a comment that is just surreal. So I don't know One is
Where
it might
what?
have been deleted straight away, but yeah, I'll show you in the green room
Ah.
anyway.
Oh, yeah, I've seen that. I saw it.
It's just surreal. Thank you from me, everyone. Anyone watching over on these guys' channels, because everyone's streaming it, then I'm Mike at the UK Urban Prepper, which is down there. All my stuff is linked below. Big thank you to Rachel with the super stickers and Evil with the super chat as well this evening. So thank you very much to you guys. Thank you for all of you three joining me, and we'll see you again in another video really soon. Goodbye.
Bye, guys.
Bye, everyone.
Laters.
In the glow of embers dance, we've prepared for every chance. Living simple, living true, with the dream we all pursue.